All right, Bill, here's my thoughts on the game last night. I'm posting a day late. The Pittsburgh Penguins beating the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-2. First of all, I'll talk about the game, and then obviously the Hall of Fame ceremony. You know what? I find that the ceremonies are really cool. Don't get me wrong. They are really cool. But I don't know what, it just seems to make sure every time you have a huge half-hour delay, 45-minute delay on the game while the players are sitting on the bench, the game starts. Both teams started out pretty slow, and definitely by about midway through the first period, the speed picked up pretty tremendously. I think it's the same old story for these Leafs. I don't know how many videos you're going to hear me say this, but the same thing is happening. Turnovers at the blue line. Stop. I don't understand this. I saw Keith lose his absolute ever-loving mind on the bench. A little late on that. There's coaches, right? Don't you tell the players, stop the drop pass at the blue line? Stop handing the puck over at the blue line? It's constant. No one gets held accountable for it. The biggest one is Marner. Marner is the king of them. Although Sandin has certainly put his name into the mix for amount of turnovers at the blue line. I don't understand this team's fascination with trying to do a cross-ice pass at the blue line or a drop pass to no one that's there. Blind drop passes and cross-ice passes at the blue line. What is the fascination with this? How does that make that a better play? Here's a thought: if you're going to drop the pass, take a fucking look. I'm sorry for my swearing. Take a look. Jesus Christ. If you have to do a cross against or pass against the blue line and you've got to lift it in the air to do a flip pass, don't make that pass. There's nothing good going to come out of it. Anyways, let's get into the goals. The first goal, the Leafs' fourth line had a horrible shift, and then they had a fantastic shift. I was sitting there going, oh my God, here we go. Fourth line getting destroyed. And then they kept it in the zone for a while. Malgin took a shot, went off the Pittsburgh defenseman, and Zach Aston-Reese puts it in the net against his old team. 1-0. Okay, here we go. Thought they did well first period, but then the game turned on a tripping call. Now, we knew that Malkin was sleeping for the first 8 minutes of this game. Take a look. He was sleeping. He had a penalty, and then he got another penalty. He was sleeping. Now, he didn't do the trip. There was a guy behind that looked like he tripped the Leaf player. It looked like it might have been a hook that they were calling him on, but there was a penalty behind the play, and it wasn't Malkin who did the trip. So the ref gives him a tripping call. The Leafs, the way the Leafs play, the Leafs aren't going to wake up the Giant. They don't hit anybody. You ain't going to wake up no Giant. Let him sleep. Let Malkin sleep for the night. It's fine. We would have been fine. Let him sleep. But no, the refs got to get him up. They call a tripping penalty that obviously pissed him off, and then he was a Giant for the rest of the night. Thank you, referees. That's where a call goes for you, and it actually goes against you. Oh, anyways, the power play with Malkin in, they did have some opportunities, but again, I don't know why Matthews is in what do they call it, the bumper position. That is asinine. Stupid. I like Nylander on the side. I do like Nylander on the side. How about you get Mitchie in the because Mitchie can't shoot. So having him, I'm tired of watching the team. Watch the teams that play the power play. They let Mitch go whatever he wants. They give it to Mitch. They say, take a shot, Mitch. You ain't scoring anytime. Take your shot. We're going to cover Matthews. Putting him in the bumper position makes it easy to find him. Even when he made the play over to Nylander, that was a hell of a play. Just there was no time for him. He's not going to get time in a bumper position. Anyways, power play unsuccessful. And then, I'll be honest, Justin Holl slept the night away. First goal, right at the end of the first period. Horrible shift by the first line. And Matthews with a lazy play to the blue line. So again, it's a secondary assist for Auston Matthews as he passes it to the defenseman. Rip it down the ice. 25 seconds left. Rip it down. Take the icing. Rip it. No. Trying to not get an icing, but get it out. Silly play. And then I don't know what Justin Holl was doing. I guess he was covering the boards. He was beside Malkin when the shot happened, and then he was nowhere near Malkin when he banged home the winner or the goal. 1-0 nonsense. Jesus. they kind of deserved it. Pittsburgh started picking it up. But I'm thinking, thanks, ref. Malkin's sleeping and you woke him up. Thank you. Get into the second period. I thought the Leafs had a pretty good second period, to be honest. They did get some power plays. And again, this penalty power play is just... It started with a horrible play by Marner at the blue line that got iced down the palm. I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm screaming. Ah! And the next thing I know, Nylander's on a breakaway because of an amazing pass by Marner. Live by the sword, die by the sword, I guess, is how you play it. And then Nylander makes the ring off the post and then was able to tie up the game. When you made it easy, Morgan Rielly right back to Nylander, rip it. And a guy who can shoot rips it home. And that actually made 2-2. The second goal for Pittsburgh was another disaster play by Justin Holl. Justin Holl was horrible tonight. Absolutely disgusting tonight. Now, I want him out of the lineup. I thought I wouldn't have to watch Justin Holl too much. You saw my videos. I thought once Liljegren comes in, good. You replace him for Holl. I guess Sandin's so poor as well. But I don't know. I'll take Kral. I'll take anyone over Holl because that was bad. Malkin makes a play. Brody, very rarely do you see Brody make this kind of mistake. It's a 2-on-1 now. You don't charge the puck. There's no chance he was going to get that puck. And I've never, on a 2-on-1, I'm going to guess you haven't played it really well when the guy gets to one-time it from 10 feet. I'm going to guess you did not play that well. One-time it from the middle of the slot, 10 feet away, with no one on you. Good luck, Källgren. And the next thing you know, it's without made it 2-1, and now it's 2-2. You go into the third period, you're thinking, okay, 2-2. We played a really good period. DeSmith, I thought, made some really, really good saves. It's kind of crazy to see DeSmith started 2 in a row. Good for my league, because I've got DeSmith on my second fantasy team, which usually only have backups. But if DeSmith gets some more starts, that's going to be fantastic. He's done well this week, 2 wins. I didn't want to see him win tonight, to be honest with you. But anyways... You go into the third period, I thought again, Pittsburgh certainly tightened up the defense. I thought Pittsburgh were playing for the tie. They're playing just to get this into overtime. Let's see what happens. And of course, the Leafs, like they always do, they go into, okay, let's try to go get a goal at all costs. And horrible turnover at the blue, or at our blue line by Dennis Malgin. Leads to Brock McGinn walking home and sniping it past Källgren. You can argue Källgren should have had that. I'm going to argue, what the frig is Dennis Malgin doing? That between the leg moves. A good one. How about you just bank it off the boards? I need Pat Burns back from where... Pat Burns rolling over his grave. It's off the boards every time. You get it deep. It's 2-2. You're Dennis Malgin. You're a fourth-line bum. What are you doing? Oh, I'm sure Dennis Malgin would have beat him, and then another 3 Pittsburgh defensemen to go score an amazing goal. Wouldn't that be awesome? You know what would have been awesome? Not making the turnover at the blue line. That would have been awesome. Because this team does it all the time. It hasn't stopped. 15 games in, you can make the call. This team is not going to learn. Don't turn the puck over at the blue lines. That's not in their vocabulary. That's what they do. And I'm sick of it. Anyways, the Leafs hardly poured it on. It was complete defensive lock by the Pittsburgh Penguins. And to get through locks, you got to fight through those locks. And we know this team's not capable of doing that. And an empty net goal later. I don't know. They had 5 opportunities to score an empty net goal. And because they kept missing the net, Jake Guentzel just skated it into the net, which makes a lot more sense. 4-2. Again, self-inflicted wounds all over the place. Now, at the beginning of the game, I've seen a lot of commentary. I was watching the game, watching the ceremony, and obviously seeing Borje Salming like that. Certainly, actually, I was nearly in tears, I'll be honest with you. It's tough to see someone. That's such a horrible disease. It was good to see him there, I guess, that way you get a chance to honor him. And I think they're going to do a ceremony to honor him tonight, so... at least I heard that, and I hope that they do. Now, for me, Borje Salming, I probably have a different look at Borje Salming than other people. I would remember Borje Salming at the end of his career. So for me as a Leaf fan, I got this fascination or, whatever it is, self-inflict. I do my own self-inflicted wounds. A diehard Leaf fan. I can probably remember every game from '84 on. Every game that's on TV, I've pretty much watched it and obsessed about the Leafs, and probably explains why I'm such a pessimistic person. I don't know. But anyways, I do remember Borje Salming. Now, I think when I was watching Borje Salming, probably later part of his career, obviously, and he was a good defenseman, but certainly not, you see this, what he did in the 70s, and it was insane. It was a good defenseman. I do remember Gerald Gallant skating on his face for like some crazy amount of stitches. I remember that and being completely grossed out when that happened. But no, Salming was, again, he was a steady defenseman. He probably, if I were to relate him to someone on this team, he reminds me a little bit of Brody. Anyways, it was tough to see him like that. It's a horrible, horrible disease, but I'm glad that the fans got a chance to acknowledge him, and hopefully there'll be another chance tonight. And hopefully he seemed to understand what's happening, which is a good thing. Obviously, you can see Daryl Sittler was very emotional beside him. Matt Sundin was kind of the leader on that one. It's just really, really tough. It's a horrible, horrible disease, and I wish Borje the best. And I'm sure I'll probably have a little bit more lumps in my throat tonight if they do a ceremony for him. But again, good to see him, but just a horrible, horrible disease. That's a disease that just a horrible disease. That's all I can say. Anyways, hopefully everyone enjoys the game tonight. Vancouver should be a win. I'll put on my video right after the game. All right, cheers.